number 3 is identify and specialize your actors. Don't talk about users and generic actors. Specialists, that's what it's all about. That's how you discover features, that's how you discover behavior. Okay. Feature stories. What's a feature story? A feature story is basically a user story. Is everyone familiar with the user stories? Yeah? You know what they are. It's a user story that's basically tailored to our feature. But it's not a random story. It's a story that has a specific structure, a specific format. Now the format is thus. As a specialized actor, I want some specific system behavior so that I can have a tangible benefit. What's a tangible benefit? Well, it's a benefit that can be measured, or that has a consequence, has an outcome. It's a tangible benefit. Let's have a look at a feature. So remember we said we have a meetup system here, yeah? So one of our features would be a listing of all of the talks. And our feature story could be something like, as a learner user, I want to see the abstract of all the talks so that I can see if I like any. Is that a valid feature story? Let's have a look. So as a specialist actor, as a learner, yeah, that's fine. I want some specific system behavior. I want to see the abstracts of next meetup's talks. That's specific enough. So that I can see if I like any. Is that a tangible benefit? Not really. How can I measure like? What's the outcome of like? Yeah, it's not a tangible benefit. Let's go and rewrite this feature. So I want to see all the abstracts of the talks so that I can decide whether to attend a meetup. Can you see the difference here? What's the difference here? What happens if I decide to attend a meetup? What's going to happen then? Well, I need to go on the website and book a place, yeah? So it's reservation or booking. Yeah? That's the consequence, it's another feature. What happens if I decide not to attend a meetup? Well, I might want to give some feedback to the organisers. I want to say, well, there aren't any BDD talks, and so I'm not going to attend the meetup. Yeah? So, just by changing our feature story, we discovered 2 more features that we probably would have missed if we had left the user story as it was earlier, yeah, with a vague, non-tangible benefit. So that's rule number 4. A feature must always tell a valid story. Okay. So we talked about the learner user attending the meetup, yeah? And so obviously that leads to a reservation feature, and that will lead to a successful reservation scenario. So here's a potential scenario. Given I'm on the reservation screen, I go there and I enter my email, I go to this text field, I enter my name, my surname over there, I capture over here, I click on that button over there, and I get a nice message box in green that says, you got a place. So what's wrong with this scenario? Can anyone give a clue? Yeah, well, first of all, it's not readable. Yeah? It's got too much technical details in it. Too many incidental details. Yeah? And of course, you can imagine if we had a much bigger form, we have loads and loads of, and I click on this button and I enter this text field, etc., etc. People aren't going to read it. It's not readable. What's the second problem with it? Well, the second problem is that imagine that your UX designer comes in tomorrow and says, well, you know what, I renamed now the reserve now button is now called booking or whatever. What happens to this scenario? It's going to fail because it depends on the button called reserve now, or that button won't be there anymore. What happens if your architect comes in and says, we decided now to implement Google authorization, not our own authorization? What happens to the scenario? It's obsolete, gone, into the bin. Yeah? So it's not a durable scenario. It's not readable, it's not durable. Let's rewrite this scenario. Given I'm on the reservation page, I enter some valid credentials, and then I get a reservation. Simple as that. Readable, durable. Okay? That's simple. So that's rule number 5. The features and scenarios are about what happens in our system, not how it happens. So the how it happens is in the step definitions. Yeah? So when we have a reservation page, a reservation feature, we describe what we need to do to make a reservation. As an actor, yeah, as a learner, user, as a socializer, all I care about is actually reserving a place. Now, I don't care about clicking on this button over here and entering my name over there and all these incidental details. And I don't care about seeing a nice green message box with saying congratulations, you got a place. And for all I care, I just want to reserve a place. Whether that happens by actually seeing a nice message box, or by getting an email, or by getting a pigeon tapping on my window with a little message on his little leg, it doesn't matter to me as long as I reserve a place. That's what matters. Okay? So that's what you should be thinking about when you write your features. And you leave the how you do the reservation for the step definitions. Okay? Right. Finally, my last rule for tonight is this. Here's a scenario. It's called session terminated. Given the session has ended and the user has logged out, the no more request will be accepted by the server. What is it about? Can anybody guess? I can't guess. Why can't I guess? Given the session has ended, what's a session? Well, a session can be many things, can it? I mean, I had a conversation once where it was me, a project manager, and a network engineer. And we were talking about a session. And after 10 minutes, we realized we were talking about different things altogether. I was talking about a web session, like keeping track of the user via cookies. The network guy was talking about something like a SMTP session, something like that. And the project manager was talking about a chat session, because we were building a chat system. So we were using the same word, but nobody could understand each other because we're referring to different things. And that's a common thing you find sometimes in BDD writing features, that people describe things from the wrong perspective. So we're talking about session here, but we don't know what a session is. And that's a problem, because it makes this confusing and unreadable. So what I normally do in this case, I use the space between the scenario and the steps to actually write some clarification. You can write anything you want in there, and I use it to clarify ambiguous terms. So in this case, I will define what a session is. So anybody who reads a scenario knows exactly what I'm talking about. Some companies I've worked with, they have a glossary of terms. They have like a database or a website where you can actually go and you see all the terms they use. So that's okay still, yeah. But make sure you write an ambiguous scenarios. Right. I'd like to close for tonight by presenting a real-life case study that I came across. I was working on this place a couple of years ago, and I came across this feature, this scenario. The feature was called menu item highlighting. And there was a scenario that was called menu shows a current page. Just to give you a background, they had this website we were building, and it was like one of those old style websites. You had this little menu, this little sidebar with all the pages on the side. And you click on the product link, and you take to the product page. You click on the contact us link, you take to the contact page. And whenever you click on a link, the link should have been highlighted, and a little arrow comes next to it. And that's what the scenario was about, basically. So we said that when I click on a link, then the link should be highlighted, and a little arrow comes next to it, so I know where I clicked. And that should be the same for all the pages, yeah, on the website. So I had a look at the scenario, and I thought, well, I don't get it really. I mean, why is that there? What's the value of it? So I told the guy, started with the guy who wrote this, and I said, can you actually give me a valid feature story for this feature? And the guy couldn't. So I said, well, why is it there? What's the thinking behind it? And he said, well, the design director of the company, she wants all our websites to behave in exactly the same way. And because all our other websites have this little behavior where you click on the link and the link is highlighted, she wants our website to behave in exactly the same way. So I thought, okay, fair enough. That's fine, but we need to reflect this in the scenario, in the feature. So we sat down and we rewrote the feature, and we wrote it like that. So first of all, we renamed it, and now we call it Navigation Link Consistency. And we wrote a feature story. And the feature story goes, as a design director, I want the site to be navigated in the same way as the other company sites, so that the company can maintain a consistent corporate image. Okay? Is that a valid feature story? Well, yeah, it's a specialist user, it's a specific behavior, and we have a tangible benefit. Is that a tangible benefit? Well, not for me, not for you, but for the design director it is, because that's the job, basically. And we left the scenario as it was. And that was fine. So then I went for another 2 weeks and I worked on something else, another part of the project. And I came back to the features a couple of weeks later. And I saw that where I had left just one scenario there, now we have 15 different scenarios. And why did we have 15 different scenarios? Because people saw that and realized there were other aspects of the system that weren't conforming to this behavior. So they were allowed different scenarios. For example, there was a scenario that said there should be a logo, a corporate logo on the right corner that takes you back to the homepage when you click it. Why? Because all the other websites had the same thing, yeah? So they added this as a scenario. So we had 15 different scenarios that we caught just by having a properly written feature. And these 15 scenarios are 15 bugs that we caught before they were demonstrated. Because eventually, if we released, as it was, someone somewhere, probably the design director, would have raised bugs on this behavior that wasn't there. So just by writing our features correctly, we caught this and we saved ourselves a lot of time and trouble. So just to recap what we talked about today, BDD, I know it's very little, but I'll recite it. Make sure that everyone's involved. Product owners write features, developers and testers write step definitions. Everyone reads each other's features and step definitions. Make sure that the features are readable, and we're talking about some tips how you can achieve that. And make sure that when you discover your behavior, you write your features, you use specialist actors. And every feature must tell a valid story, that's very important. And make sure that you use unambiguous, clear terms in your features. And you'll be halfway there. So let's give some credits for the resources in my presentation. And if you want to learn more about BDD, Gorko Agis has a very good book. This is language agnostic, so it's not about technical stuff, for specification by example. And of course there's the classing, the Cucumber book. It's a bit more technical, but still very, very good. I'd like to thank you for your time tonight. I've been Heath, and if you've got any questions, please feel free.